A very good evening and welcome to the center stage. Taking on the center stage tonight is breast cancer. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and there are many facts, myths and risks that are involved in all this, and tonight we're going to unpack all of that. And did you know that 1 out of 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime? Very worrying trend right there, and in light of that we are having this conversation because it's up to us to create more awareness and understand exactly how all this goes down. With me on set is Fatma Mohammed, who is the CEO of Wellness KE. Welcome, Fatma.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not a guest, really.
Yeah.
Welcome back home.
I feel at home.
Welcome back home.
Thank you for having me.
Right. And happy Mashujaa.
Yes.
What does a shujaa mean to you?
To me, it's, let me be biased and say, a woman who is dedicated to taking care of herself.
Right.
And it's a woman who's also taking the time to see to it that she just has every step in her life leads towards her health and her well-being, because it takes a lot for a woman to just decide to forget everyone else and think about herself. It is almost unnatural. So if you can do it as a woman, then you are a shujaa.
We are shujaa.
Yeah.
And today has been Mashujaa Day. The celebrations marked in Kericho. And the main theme was universal healthcare.
Yeah.
The government is prioritizing healthcare. The president signed 4 healthcare bills and sent out health providers who are going to be walking around. So it is a priority for the government.
Yeah.
And cancer is top among what the government is prioritizing.
Yeah.
And now breast cancer, if we zone in, to be very specific, most prevalent cancer in the world.
Yeah.
People know about breast cancer, but there's so much more in it, up to 4 types of breast cancer. Let's just start with perhaps how people can now know about
breast cancer.
Right.
Well, the first thing is to understand that this type of cancer, breast cancer, affects a huge population of women in this country. To be honest, it is sad to know that breast cancer is the leading type of cancer that's affecting Kenyan women. Right. And most women are shocked when they get the diagnosis, of course, because they haven't really fully understood what has led to that, which is something that I feel is important for every woman to understand. It's the fact that you have, breast cancer is mainly diagnosed as per its origin, like where does it originate from? Right. If it starts in the ducts, for instance, the milk ducts, which are the pipes that will lead to breast milk towards the nipple, then they would classify that as a ductal type of breast cancer. Right. Or if it originates from where the milk comes from, which is the lobes, then it would be a lobular type of breast cancer. But then more women, let's just say around 80% of women are diagnosed with a type of breast cancer that is sensitive to hormones. Right. And the 2 hormones are estrogen and progesterone, which is something that I think is very important, because a large part of our lives as women, we are exposed to estrogen hormone, because this is the hormone that is more dominant in us women. Right. It is a hormone that does a lot. It is positive. It's what leads to growth, development, for you to have your menses, for you to be able to become pregnant, to develop breasts, basically what makes you feminine, right? And makes you a woman. But unfortunately, most women don't know that estrogen is also a type of hormone that can become a carcinogen. It means that it is a hormone that can also become cancerous. It can cause cancer, right, because estrogen is a hormone that leads to growth and development of cells. So that means if you do have a type of breast cancer that is sensitive to estrogen, then the cells, the cancer cells, can actually grow and multiply as well. Right. So the more estrogen dominant you are, the more estrogen you have, the higher your susceptibility to this type of breast cancer. And it's important to say that it's the type of breast cancer that affects 80%. 80% of breast cancer cases. Yeah.
So then it's time for people to know about.
They really need to understand this type of breast cancer is known as estrogen receptor positive breast cancer. So that means that it is a type of breast cancer whereby the cancer cells, on the walls of the cancer cells, you actually have receptors. So these are hormone receptors. Right. Every hormone needs a receptor for it to be able to communicate and for it to now, function in your body. But now these cancer cells, interestingly enough, actually have developed receptors on them, such that your body's estrogen feeds these cancer cells and they keep growing. Right. So your cancer cells end up multiplying. As we've said, estrogen is a hormone that leads to growth and multiplication of cells.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's the relation between this specific type of breast cancer that is hormone related
yeah.
To PCOS? To the painful menses, fibroids.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the relationship is really strong because when you have estrogen dominance, you actually present certain signs and symptoms. Right. For instance, women who have painful periods have high estrogen. Women who have heavy periods have high estrogen. Women who have fibroids also have high estrogen, since fibroids are tumors that have grown and just increased in size and number. And this is because of estrogen. As we've said, it leads to growth and also cell multiplication. Women who have PCOS also have high estrogen. Right. Women who have endometriosis also have high estrogen. If you have lumps in your breasts, or if you feel your breasts are a bit lumpy towards your period or during your period, that is an indication that estrogen is really high. And also, if you have high blood pressure, or if your body is more heated than it is cool. For instance, if everyone else is feeling cool, but you really are feeling hot, that's also an indication that estrogen levels are really high. Right. So the good thing about it is that hormones are very sensitive in such a way that if you are to get tested right now, if you do make certain changes, after a while, you would actually see that your levels have gone back to normal. So it's not something that should scare women. All they have to know is to understand that they are estrogen dominant, what they can do naturally to make sure that their levels are at par, or they have, the right levels of estrogen to avoid this type of breast cancer.
Actually, now that would be my next question.
Yeah.
Because then you have very painful periods, meaning your estrogen levels are very high.
Yeah.
So then, that means you're doomed.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, the first thing women have to do is to make sure that they can actually get tested, right? You can go into a hospital and have a hormone test. This is known as a hormone panel test, whereby they'll check your estrogen levels. They'll also check your progesterone levels, testosterone levels. And this is important because a hormone like testosterone, of course, is more dominant in men, but it also exists in women. Right. And through certain enzymes, your body actually can turn testosterone into estrogen. So if you already are estrogen dominant and you also have more testosterone, like women who have PCOS, then this testosterone can actually turn into estrogen because of a certain phase known as aromatase in your body. Mm. So you actually have to check all these other sex hormones so that you can make sure that they are at par. And no, you are not doomed. All you have to do is to make sure that you make lifestyle changes that are going to support your body to produce hormones in a natural way and to produce the right amounts. And what's important to understand is your body needs protein and healthy fats to produce hormones. So you need to actually have a diet that is rich in healthy sources of protein and also healthy sources of healthy fats, like avocado and flax seeds and chia seeds and all that, which is, the smoothie that I brought right here.
Just before we get into that, there are questions that you come across, even as I was getting ready. Yeah. People say the healthiest people have died of cancer.
I know.
So if you take care of yourself, then cancer still gets you.
Yeah.
But then, here you are, saying it is important, naturally, to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Wellness, what you put in your body.
Into your body, yeah. And also onto your body. Right. That's important because as women, can you imagine how many chemicals we're exposed to just from skincare products and hair care products and all that. And we have to look at the back of these, products and make sure that we know these chemicals unfortunately become external sources of estrogen. Because what happens is when they meet with your body or they come into contact with your skin and your body, they actually mimic your own body's estrogen. So if you already had high estrogen, you actually have this
even higher.
Yes, and that is, I believe, the reason why most women are shocked when they get this diagnosis, because they've been trying to do their best, but the type of estrogen that's affecting them is more external, because we're not aware of the fact that our food affects us. You know, pesticides that are used, you know, to grow the food that we're eating affects us. Our skincare products affect us, our hair care products, all these relaxers, acrylic, nails, all of that affect us.
Can we talk about how then can we know maybe the products to watch out for and avoid? Because we have to use these cosmetics.
I know, I know. Most women have said the same thing. And to be honest with you, because I can say I have been estrogen dominant and had fibroids, it's something that I've been very careful about. So I had to switch completely. And I'm aware that it's not easy for every other woman. Especially, let's just give an example. For someone like you, you're on air, you actually have to, you know, use makeup and use certain products.
There's always glam time.
I know, and it's difficult for you. The most that you can do is, of course, it may be impossible at the moment to live a toxin-free life, but you can try to live a low-toxic life, such that, yes, you know that you're going to be using makeup, for instance. If you're able to get your hands on products that are more clean, and if you're not able to, then making sure that if you have used the makeup, then you have a way that you take care of your skin afterwards. So natural ways for you to be able to, you know, exfoliate and cleanse yourself. And also, other than cleaning the external, clean the internal, you know, your organs in such a way that you have more things like matcha green tea, which are excellent at reversing even people who have, they're more prone or susceptible to getting cancer. They're supposed to take all these foods that are natural that can be able to reverse that and make them less susceptible. So if you can be able to eat more cruciferous vegetables, they're going to help. So your broccoli, cauliflower, your cabbage as well is really important. Eating more leafy greens, half of your plate. Eating more fruit, fresh fruit and vegetables, using more herbal teas so that they can be able to help you in detoxing your body, because your liver is going to naturally detox you. That is how God made you, but you have to support it, because when you think about it, we're exposed to so much right now, and you might not be able to control everything. It'll actually give you anxiety at some point. Yeah, but what you can do is you can do your best and make sure that you are aware. Because I really believe when you know, like you make different type of choices every time you try
to be informed.
Yes, and you make better choices that way. Yeah.
And let's talk about now the products that you have here. There's green tea, there's sunflower, there's turmeric.
There's turmeric,
How vital are they?
They are so vital. The most important thing to remember is because now we're seeing more women being exposed to external sources of estrogen, which are known as exogenous estrogen. We have to make sure that on a daily basis, we are taking natural foods and remedies that are going to help to reverse, you know, the susceptibility of you know, being more prone to breast cancer. And green tea is really excellent for that. So if you find that maybe in your diet you eat a lot of meat, you eat a lot of red meat, you drink alcohol, you eat more, you know, animal sources of protein, just understand that whenever they do studies, they carry out studies on patients who have breast cancer, colorectal cancer, most of them, their diet is filled with more animal protein. And the diet that is more natural with more plants helps to reverse these cancer cells. So matcha green tea is really good for that. Turmeric is really, really good for that. Sunflower seeds are also really good for that. In general, you have to make sure that when you're eating, let's just name the 5 most important, right? At the very top is cruciferous vegetables. That means your broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. If you cannot get broccoli and cauliflower, cabbage is very easy for us to get. Make sure that you eat this daily if you are estrogen dominant.
And the portions?
And the portions are half of a plate. So for instance, if you were to have sweet potatoes and maini, and then you have cabbage, make sure cabbage is half of your plate. Sweet potatoes would be a quarter of it, and then the protein would be a quarter of it. Then making sure that you also have healthy fats. So for instance, if you don't know how else you can have your healthy fats, you can have it in a smoothie for breakfast. It's the perfect way, meaning you add your sunflower seeds to it. That's a healthy fat. You use avocados, which are really good for healing your womb, and also areas that are more prone to estrogen. The breasts and the womb are more prone to estrogen. So adding healthy fats to that is going to help. The second type of food is foods that are very rich in antioxidants. Yeah. Right. So you have your fruit like berries, blueberries and all that. Yeah. And then also eating foods like peanuts are going to be very helpful. Fruit, especially like grapes, are really good because they actually contain some antioxidants that help to reverse that. When it comes to herbal teas, at the very top will always be green tea. Every research supports that 1000%, and there's reason for that. And also turmeric tea, because it is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Because inflammation is the reason why people end up having sickness. It's more or less like if you had a river, before the river flows, if you've created a path, and then for the water to come and just follow that path, that is inflammation to disease. Right. So when you are inflamed, that means you're more prone to disease. So what you need to do is to eat foods that are less inflammatory or anti-inflammatory, and turmeric is at the very top. That's why whenever we make the green tea, we always tell the ladies to add turmeric in it. And when they take it before their period, they take it during their period. They also take it on normal days, because especially if you are estrogen dominant, yeah? So it's going to be very helpful. And then taking healthy fats is important, because as we mentioned, these are what will lead to the production of hormones, but in the right amounts. Right. Because there are some women who struggle with this type of breast cancer, mainly because their bodies are producing excess estrogen naturally. So you find the ovaries are just overproducing. Right. It could be because there's a tumor there or something that's leading to overproduction. And for that reason, then you're going to have to work even harder to make sure your body is producing the right amounts. Right. Yeah.
And what are the dangers of a lot of sugar, say processed sugar, deep fried food? To your estrogen levels? Oh,
okay. These are the foods that are actually going to set your estrogen to the roof. Right. It's actually going to go way higher, including alcohol, because alcohol is classified as sugar. I mean, it's going to be broken down into sugar. And you find that women who actually have a poor lifestyle, stress mostly, and drink are more susceptible to this type of breast cancer. And it's because of that. Sugar is, it's known as, it actually feeds cancer very fast. Right. And I've talked to several women who are breast cancer survivors, and they always say the moment they leave the hospital after they're done with their treatment and the cancer is gone, the two things they're told not to use is sugar, and the other one is roll-on. I don't know why.
Roll-on?
Yeah. I've actually talked to 4 people who have told me like they were put off sugar completely, and then they don't use roll-on anymore. And that's another story for another day. It's insane. I was actually talking to a client the other day, and she was explaining about the same thing. Women would tell you like they'll probably use a certain product, and it ends up turning out to have negative effects on their bodies. Right. And that's because, so me and you are different. I'm more estrogen dominant, so I might use a certain product and it gives me negative results. Right. And you're probably different, so you might not notice. But that's why it's important to do the test and know. Right. And when you know, then you know like, okay, my estrogen levels are high, or you'll understand. So that's why when I have my period, I'm more fatigued, I lose more, blood from menstruation, maybe I have, severe cramps, I have clots in my period, then I understand that's estrogen. Right. It's more or less like a hormone that makes your blood thicker. That's why it leads to clots and even blood clots. Like I've mentioned many times with fibroids, I ended up having a blood clot in my leg. It's because of high estrogen. So it makes your blood
which could be very fatal.
It is, yeah. So can you imagine like the number of women who don't know that this can go as far as that? So maybe it's someone who has painful periods, and it always starts this way. Their period is painful, they have, heavy flow, and then they just live a lifestyle that's very stressful. Then before they know it, they're drinking alcohol. Before they know it, they find themselves unwell, and when they're in hospital, it's just a diagnosis that really shocks them, and it starts from there.
And you talk about stress.
Yeah.
And we can't completely shun off stress.
I know.
Yeah. Tough economic times.
Yeah.
We, as adults, there's always something to deal with. So then how can we just take care of ourselves better to avoid spiking our estrogen levels?
The first thing to remember is stress is actually at the very top when it comes to anything that causes disease. So most people have not understood that. Even people who are trying to lose weight, they don't understand that stress is actually the reason why they're not able to lose weight. Because whenever you're stressed, your body produces a lot of cortisol. And high cortisol levels leads to fat storage. And then estrogen is also stored and produced in fat cells. So the more fat storage you have, the more fat cells you have, so the more estrogen you're going to have. And that's why it's important for you to get rid of stress first and foremost. And how you can be able to try and do that, number one, it really helps for you to try and do some meditation. This might sound like something that people of another part of the world do, but I promise you, I promise you, it helps big time. Because scientifically, it has been proven and it supports, and I can say personally, even if it's 5 minutes every day, I never miss 5 minutes of meditation. If you want, you can contact us on Wellness KE. We have so many links to so many YouTube videos. The best YouTube videos that I've seen so far that have the best meditation videos, we'll send you the link so that you can start. And the moment you do these breathing exercises and meditation, it actually does something to your brain cells. You will relax. And the moment you start relaxing, you're going to be able to now you will understand and see that stress is what's taking you to that place. Maybe stress is the reason you're not able to get rid of a certain illness, or stress is the reason that's making your period much worse, or it's making you more susceptible to a certain illness. So getting rid of stress is very important. And the problems will always be there, Nancy, you know that. They will always be there, but you have to take care of yourself.
Find a way to tackle them.
You really have to.
And what's the place of fitness, a fit lifestyle and all of this?
Yes, that's going to be amazing for you. And a fit lifestyle doesn't have to be aggressive, okay? Because some people think about fitness and they think, oh, I'm going to have to do jumping jacks and go up the stairs and down and then do frog marches and what?
And they don't have abs.
Yes, yet they're not coming. But with fitness, the most important thing to remember is you do what you like, okay? So for me, what works for me is always going to be yoga. That works for me. When I wake up in the morning and I think about doing it, I don't feel like I dread it. I don't feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. It's easier for me. For someone else, it could be dance. If it is, then go on YouTube, type dance, weight loss for beginners, or dance for beginners. You'll find so many videos. Do 2 to 3 within a week. You'll find the one you love. Forget the rest. Stick to the one you love. The more you do it, the more the routine becomes so easy for you. And when the routine is easy, you actually be more confident and you look forward to doing it. And if it's weightlifting, then do that. If you're the type of person that needs a gym for you to get motivation, I have sisters who tell me all the time, like, they just need a gym. They're not going to do it at home. And they prefer that. They need to be around people, and they love that energy. And I understand. But for me, by myself, I don't want the phone to ring. I just want to be at home, and I do it, okay? So everyone is different. So find what works for you. Find what you like. If it's music, play the music you love. Just no matter what you do, don't stop moving your body. It could even be a walk. It's okay. You get yourself the wrist thingies that tell you how many steps you
calculate your steps, 10,000 steps a day.
That's fine. You've done something. But at the same time, remember, like, our lifestyles are going to change completely. The more we, like, the older we get, the less time you're going to have to do any of these things. And when you start today, you develop a habit that you keep. I can say for me, I thank God, I'll never stop working out. I'll never stop making myself a smoothie because I started at 21. So now I'm able to do it because
it's become part of you.
It's nothing to me. So I'll wake up and I'll do it. So if you start today, this is going to be your future. And starting is the problem for most people. Like, oh, will I be able to? Will I be able to? Once you start, that's it. Commend yourself. If you backslide, which is what most clients tell me, like, Fatma, I just backslid. I don't know what happened. I'm like, because you're a human being and you're raising children and then you don't have time. So don't be hard on yourself. You wouldn't be hard on your friend or somebody you love if they told you they have backslid. You would actually encourage them. So the same way you would talk to someone that you love, talk to yourself in that way. Remind yourself the importance of moving your body. Fitness is going to help you detox. Fitness is going to actually help you with bloating. It's going to help you to have easier menses.
Right.
The easiest. You'll actually do like 2 days, 3 tops. You won't feel any pain. You actually feel like your body has cleansed itself after that. Your skin will get better. Your thyroid, the rate at which you even take things in life. You're not going to be so sensitive to everything, because stress is sensory, you know. So you have to do it from a wholesome point of view. But step by step, you know, you'll do it. For anyone that wants tips, I always say, like, contact Wellness KE, DM. We are always ready. We'll send you links. We'll guide you. As long as you're doing it, that's what gives me joy.
Right.
When I see people start their journeys, it's amazing. And then when they send you their testimonials, when they tell you, like, they were able to do this and that, there are people who have been able to have twins after they've had years of not being able to become pregnant. There are people who have been able to lose weight.
There can be these natural remedies.
Yes, and then you start the natural remedies, and then you also start something that you like. Maybe every evening you're going to take a walk, and then you sleep early. And I even send people sleep meditation videos for those who have there are people who really have serious anxiety and they cannot sleep.
Right.
And they have sleep meditation, and then someone sent me a video and said, where has this been all my life? This thing has changed me. Now I'm going to be doing it every day. And she does it every day.
Right.
You know.
And the most common notion that a wellness lifestyle, nutrition is expensive.
Oh, it's not true, because I can tell you, like, the moment I started living a healthier lifestyle, it was a time where I actually didn't have a job and I didn't have money.
Right.
But I was able to do it because I realized when I had money, I could be able to go to a supermarket and shop for things I didn't really need. That was eventually going to lead to me getting worse.
Right.
It was things that are in packets and they were not real food. Then I started realizing, like, I can eat spinach, and then I can make ugali, and then I can have an avocado. And then when I would calculate, I would be like, oh, this is actually better for me than if I went and shopped for, I don't know, boxes of biscuits and all that. So it is a notion. People like to believe that. But I'll be honest with you, it's really more about knowing what you need to eat, what your body needs. And then the interesting thing that happens is when you eat healthy, you don't need to stuff yourself with food. You'll actually be full, you know, because what I had for lunch was broccoli, cauliflower. It was like stir-fried vegetables. I had it with some protein and avocado, and that was it. And the moment I ate that till now, I'm not hungry, because I ate right. I didn't eat a lot.
That's the important thing.
Yeah,
eating right.
Eat right. As opposed to saying I have to eat all the time, and then I need huge portions of food. If you do find yourself filling up your plate with a lot of rice, a lot of water, you're eating more carbohydrates, that will lead to more hunger.
Right.
It is proven. The more carbohydrates you eat, the hungrier you
like
get.
There's something with fries.
Yeah.
Like you eat fries, and then exactly in an hour,
you're hungry. Yes.
I don't know how that
And
works.
even slices of bread. Yeah, because, you know, you haven't really nourished yourself. Because the idea is for you to eat to nourish your body. When you nourish your body, you will have less hunger, because you are, the word is satiated. So you're full. So now your cells, you've given them the right things that they need in order for them to do the job. So what you really need to do, especially if you're on a budget, just eat right, eat the healthy food. If you are able to get some ngwashe, you're not going to overeat ngwashe, trust me. At some point you'll be full, because it is actually a natural source of sugar and carbohydrates that is going to be filling for you, as opposed to if you said, I'm going to have bread, you're probably, if you're a guy, going to have a whole loaf of bread and you probably get hungry after an hour.
Right.
I mean, so if you really do feel like this is something that's difficult for you, try as hard as you can to eat what is right for you, because it will keep you full. And then you can always contact us on Wellness KE. Will give you all the guidance.
Right. Yeah. And one of the most burning questions that I came across was birth control pills.
Oh, yes.
Do they cause breast cancer?
Most people have that question because they are worried, and they're seeing so many articles and so many studies on it. The truth is, when you're taking birth control pills, you are taking synthetic hormones, right? So there are two kinds of pills. There's one that actually has both estrogen and progesterone, and then there's the other one that is a mini pill, which is only progesterone, right? So if you are taking birth control pills, these are synthetic hormones, and as we've discussed, hormones are going to be, you know, whenever your body is taking in any kind of external hormones, you are leading to an imbalance in your own body. So if you are estrogen dominant, meaning you have high estrogen already, and you're put on birth control pills that contain estrogen, you can understand why then you will end up having more estrogen. So you would be more susceptible to breast cancer in that way.
Right.
But that's why we go back to importance of having a hormone test for you to know. Before you even choose any kind of birth control pills, make sure that, or birth control of any kind,
right,
make sure that you know your levels, your hormone levels of your sex hormones, so that you know if you're putting something in your body, it's not going to cause any havoc.
Right.
Yeah.
And
we value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to info@lookuptv.co.ke.
Have chia seeds, we have flax seeds, we have sunflower seeds, and sesame seeds. So those are the healthy fats that are really important, and they actually support your womb's health. So they support your hormone production, and they support for you to have a healthy womb. And then now for our fruit, avocado is also a fruit as well, but we've also used bananas, which are really good at becoming, just naturally sweetening your smoothie without you adding any sugar.
Right.
So those two are really important. Bananas are really good. That's a fruit that you have there. It's rich in magnesium that helps you, especially if you have cramps or you have, you know, like you need some more magnesium in your diet, which more women need, right? And then we also have matcha green tea in there, which is really important. So you make the matcha green tea, you let it cool, then now you add it to a blender and add the fruit. So the matcha green tea is important because that's now your superfood. It's what's going to make sure that you balance your estrogen, you naturally produce the right amount of hormones in your body, right? So we've had a fruit there, we've had a vegetable, and we had the healthy fats. And we normally do the herbal tea, whichever it will be. If it's going to be green tea, it's going to be the turmeric tea or the cinnamon tea, whichever it is. We add it to the rest of the ingredients that I've mentioned for it to now become like a whole meal, such that if you were to have this, you would stay full. You probably won't even have dinner.
So very important to have your healthy fats.
Yes.
A fruit.
Yes, and a vegetable in your smoothie. Yeah. So if you can be able to get, let's say, a vegetable as a cucumber, for instance, and then you are able to get a fruit like a mango, for instance, and then your herbal tea would be, let's say, the turmeric tea, right? And then you add your healthy fats. You can add an avocado to that, or you can add the seeds we've mentioned, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, and all that. Those are what support your womb and your health. So you add all these into a blender and you blend, and you can be able to have a smoothie that's powerful enough to cleanse you, to take care of your womb, to take care of your thyroid, to take care of your health, in general, so that when you're taking it, it's more like a meal because you've factored in all these other groups, the food groups in them.
And I do understand we have to finish, but just before that, maybe perhaps say the breast cancer awareness in the country.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're headed somewhere? Is it enough?
I feel like we need
to be done.
We need to do more because, for instance, when you talk to a lot of women, they are not aware of the fact that there is an estrogen receptor positive type of breast cancer. They're not aware that they are estrogen dominant. They're not aware that because their mothers have had, you know, issues like fibroids, then they're more susceptible to having breast cancer in their 50s and 60s. So we need to do more. Yeah, and hopefully we'll get to do that. And of course, I thank you for even giving us the platform.
This is one of the ways.
Yes. This is one of the best ways, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is Fatma Mohammed, who is the CEO and founder of Wellness KE. Tonight's conversation has been breast cancer. Remember, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this evening we have been talking about a very specific type of breast cancer, which is a hormone receptor positive kind of cancer. And of course, let's keep the conversation going across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv on X, Lookuptv on our Facebook, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. I am Nelson Alima. Our sign language interpreter for tonight has been Philista Adundo. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a pleasant weekend and